Okay. All right. All right. I'm just gonna play it on my phone. I'm not gonna say whose account this is on. This is a song that I heard on one of the accounts, and I just want to just get y'all's feedback. So this is a song. I don't know if y'all hearing the words. So there's a sexual statement that's made in one of the songs that's on one of y'all's TikTok account. So it's a sexual statement that's made. Athletes lose scholarships sometimes from those kind of statements. I also saw other ones where there were words, there were actual cuss words that were actually. So I guess I have a question. How do you feel about if there's a post and somebody's cussing? Has anybody ever posted that before? Again, when I ask these questions, I'm asking these questions because, like, I'm old enough. I'm actually 52 years old. So any one of the coaches, all of us, we've all done dumb stuff. So anybody who's my age who says that they haven't done something that we would look back and say, I wish I had not have done that, we've all done stuff. So we're not saying this because we're perfect. We're saying it because we want to get you to think about the things that you're actually posting before you actually post them, right? Because if you don't think about those things, we always say that it's too hard to unring the bell, right? So once you put something out there, once you hit send, you share it with somebody, then there's nothing else that you can really do about it. What I want to do is I want to pull up something real quick. I want to show you some posts from not you guys, but from other players. And I want to have a conversation around these posts. I don't know if anybody heard of Marcus Stokes, right? Does anybody know that story about Marcus Stokes? Do you want to share the story? If not, I can.
He said, that would. He said, that would.
Okay. All right. So this guy was a quarterback in Miami. I'm down in Florida. Great quarterback. Always wanted to play for the University of Florida. So he's on, I think, IG or TikTok, and he sings a song, and it has the N-word in it. I don't think he was saying something where he was trying to say something negative to our community. He was just singing the song. And he sung the song, and then Florida revoked his scholarship. So now he's playing D2 ball at, I think, West Florida. How many people think that was fair? Life is not fair. Life is what you negotiate. Life, you're going to get back whatever you put out. If you put hard work in, then you're going to get the results of hard work. When you start to make other kind of mistakes, like when I'm younger, I don't think the same way I do now. But I want all of y'all to be cognizant of every single decision because there's scarce opportunities. And we make certain decisions, what happens is that people are saying, I don't want to be associated with that, right? And so again, we want to be very careful of those kind of things. I pulled up this other post about this coach. And I think he's at UCF. And he said, look, I dropped another prospect this AM due to his social media presence. And I got to know the real him. So what happens is that you don't really know people unless you live with them. Like I can say I know my guy and all these other people, but unless I'm with them, like I know my wife, I know my daughter because I'm with them every day. Other people, like I might think I know them, but I don't really know them because I'm not really around them. So what people are going to do, they're going to use a small bit of information and they're going to make big decisions based on the stuff that you publicly share. So if you made a decision to share it in a public domain, putting it on social media, recording a video, sending an email, sending a text message, now it's in the public, I can only judge based on the information that you share, right? And so So whether it's fair or not, these schools are deciding whether they want to connect their brand with your brand, right? And so all the decisions that you make are decisions that are going to impact your future, right? And so again, so I'm just curious, you know what I'm saying? When you guys post, or young ladies post, I guess, you know what I'm saying, what kind of content like do you post, or what are the things that inspire you to post what you post? Like, I'm curious. Okay.
My sport, and I post a lot of Bible quotes, so I guess my religion too.
Okay, that's cool. I love that. He's posting his faith and sports, okay? Anybody else? Okay, we got some back here. Go ahead.
If I'm posting something, it's probably if I like went out to eat with my girlfriend and I'm just posting my plate.
Okay.
That's like
Okay.
safest option.
All right. Okay. So he posts stuff about his girlfriend and about.
Like if I go out to eat, I'll post my plate.
Okay. So if you go to McDonald's, you probably don't post McDonald's. Only like really cool restaurants, right? No, it's all good. It's all good.
Lobster.
Okay. Big time. Red Lobster in high school. That's good. Go ahead.
Since I do photography and videography, sometimes if I take like really good video or photo, I'll post it so people can hit me up to take photos for them, like just to get my thing out there, so I can start taking more photos.
Okay. All right. Okay. So cool. So it can be business related, right? You know, so you have to figure out like what you want that feed to look like. Anybody else? Y'all just randomly post. Y'all just throw stuff out there. You just don't think. You just kind of just throw darts at a board and just hope that it kind of lands.
I'll post like outfits or something.
Okay. So showing your style and swag and stuff like that. How many people think style is important? Right? So like, you know what I'm saying? That's really kind of part of who we are. So when you walked in the room, what you wore, how you did your hair, everything, you're communicating something to the outside world. People are making economic decisions just based on how you look and how you carry yourself. And so I think that could be cool. You could create opportunities. I have a partnership with CI Wear. Okay, we're not gonna play that again. That's what somebody's post. But like I get free glasses, right? And so like I get glasses that cost me almost $1,000 for free, and I post on them. But it's because that's part of who I am. So even as you're building your brand and thinking about the things that you want to be connected to, there are algorithms in terms of how companies decide who they want to work with. And so they can look at the feed and the content and things that you share, and there could be a connection that makes business sense. And so when you're posting, we want to get you to think about how to post. And I want to get you to think about the things that you're going to do that kind of make sense to be able to grow your brand. When I was also looking at some of your handles, I was looking at the handles trying to figure out how they connect to your brand. So I would love to hear some of your, I guess, the social media handles. You know, if y'all can share the, you can share the handle out loud real quick. I guess the public one that y'all share, like the secret one, we don't have to know about that one today. Okay. No. So I'm asking like for the handle name, like the handle. So you know what I'm saying, like the name. Yes.
It's my name.
Okay.
It's my nickname. Is underscore my like half of my last name.
Okay. So what is it?
Mall underscore shake.
Mall Shake.
Mall underscore shake.
Shake. Okay. All right. So now, so this is really interesting. So if somebody was to see these nicknames, would they associate that with you? And again, I'm not saying that they won't, but also I want you to think about the brand component of it. Like, so even your government name, like who owns that online? Like, you know what I'm saying? So who has secured that? So for every single person, the ability to be able to get a social media handle that has your name is part of it. Getting domain names, owning or securing those domain names becomes important. All right, so I'm gonna show you somebody. This is my cousin, and we're gonna use her as an example. Oh, let's see if we can find her real quick. So she was the number 4 draft pick in the WNBA 2 years ago. And so we use her as an example because of her handle. So her handle is Kaiser Ray. So her first name is Kaiser, her middle name is Ray. So her handle on all her social media is Kaiser Ray. Why am I using this as an example? I want you to think about when people look for you and they're searching for you online, I want your IP to be clean. I want you to think about how do you own, when we talk about name, image, and likeness, when my daughter was born, we bought her domain name when she was born, right? And so I want you to think about that digital IP because that has value to it. And the stuff that you actually post and connect. I know sometimes people will put a number in there. Well, what if your number changes? Sometimes people will put letters that connect back to their school, and then that could change over time. But I want you to think about what if somebody else gets your actual handle, which is your name, and they start posting stuff that is negative, but when people go search for it, they find that before they find your name. So again, I want you to think about it. Some of you might have names that are already taken, so you might have to figure out what does that configuration look like. But I want you to think about that handle. What does that look like? I'm curious, what are some of your email addresses? Okay, your name? Okay, so I'm not talking, I don't know if you have a school one, but just like, you know what I'm saying? I guess so do people have a Gmail account? Okay, J Shake. Okay, so J Shake. Okay, 34, what did you say? What? 348. 348. What zip code is that?
That's my birthday.
Oh, your birthday. Okay. 348?
No, like March 4th, 2008.
Oh, okay, got it. I was like, man, okay, all right. I was like, man, you look, brother looking young. Okay, all right. Okay, anybody else? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to go somewhere with this because I want you to think about all the stuff that you're creating because as you do this, what people are doing is that they're associating the way that you think, the way you process information, if they want to be connected to you. And so those simple decisions about email addresses and handles, all of that stuff becomes important. So if we go back and we look at some of the handles, also too, so even thinking about what is the stuff that goes into your bio. All right, so what's the information that's connected in the bio? What are those things, right? And when you're doing that, we want you to think about all the other stuff. So even when she's posting, the stuff she's posting, there's a style component connected to it. So she's actually playing because she can really hoop. Then she has style stuff, the photos, all of those things are consistent with how she wants the outside world to see her, right? And I want y'all to think about how do you want the outside world to connect to you? How do you want people to be able to see you so when they see you, the opportunity aligns with what you're really looking for, right? Because again, you're going to attract whatever you are. So if you put garbage out, you're going to attract that back in relationships, in business opportunities, and everything that you do. So we want you to think about that. So if we go back to this page here, I want to go back and so we asked for like some of the handles. And so here were the handles that I saw. Okay, so I know we have one up Will. So what is that? What does that mean? Yes, that's my cousin. So I was asking about One Up Will. Okay, yeah. So what is One Up Will?
So basically, it's this group of people, me and my guys that I grew up with. Basically, we made a thing based on called One Up or whatever.
Okay.
Will was my name.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
All right. So what's your real name though? Like what's your
Like, what you mean?
you know what I'm saying, name you were given at birth? Excuse me.
Will,
What?
but I go by Will all life.
Okay, so Will, and your last name is what? Espy. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, did you ever look for those handles at all, like Will Espy or anything like that? Did you ever look for any of that?
Like for my name thing under it, it says Will Espy.
Okay, gotcha. So again, I want y'all to think about this because I know, and then even the consistency between one platform and another one. So is this you?
Yeah.
So Will been up one? So you couldn't get the same, I guess?
It wouldn't let me down.
Okay, all right. So even as you're getting handles, think about if you can keep it consistent across all platforms, if possible. It's not always possible, but think about that, or even the main platforms that you actually want to have content in, right? So trying to keep that consistent and then figuring out which ones you're actually going to be on, right? So I know the twins have a joint account and they have a single account, right? Okay, and so I saw you guys have, so in Instagram, it's what, I am some 5? Okay. And then the other individual one for you was which one again?
It was India 240.
Okay. All right, so when y'all were looking for your name, I guess were you able to find like your whole name or no? Or Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So we might do, to kind of help you out to be able to see if there's any kind of searches. It's also okay because you're early enough in your career now that even if you needed to adjust your name, because again, just because of the followership that you currently have, right? So there could be an opportunity for you to even change it if you needed to because you're still young enough where you probably haven't had the total followership that you want, right? And you can really get the one that you want so you can establish it, grow it, and it's the one that's going to give you the optimal business opportunity. At the end of the day, I want each one of you to know that you're a business, right? And so this is not just about social and about having fun, but it's about really being able to make the right connections. The community that you want to connect with are not just your friends, because a lot of your friends don't really have any money. Like, I guess y'all might think y'all have money because y'all are buying $1,000 shoes, because when I was growing up, I had like one pair of shoes that matched every outfit. Now when I go to the mall, I see kids with $600, $700, $800, $1,000, $1,300 shoes to match one outfit, right? And so I know, but the people who really have the opportunity to be able to connect you to real stuff are not the people that you go to school with, right? It's going to be the people who own companies and the people who are the ADs and these other people that you really need to be able to make these kind of connections with. And so it's important for you to understand that when you're sharing, you're not just sharing this content for each other. You're sharing this because they're the bigger audience that you really want to be able to attract, that really helps you to be able to bring other opportunities in, right? And so again, I want you to think about that when you're creating your handles. Think about the profile. We're going to go through some photo stuff today. But even as you're building this stuff up, we want you to really think about that. Also, I guess, like, what's the followership that you guys have online? Like, what's the number of people that you have following you so far? I guess you know what I'm saying, roughly. 600? What? Okay, 1,000? 1,800? Okay, 3,000. All right, so there's a number that we kind of need to get to. So even when you start thinking about being able to create some NIL deals, and I got a guy coming up who has an NIL platform, the minimum number that we need to get you to 10,000 at least. We need to get you to at least about 10,000. The deals, the NIL deals, you really don't start really getting those deals until you get to at least a minimum of 10,000. So even as you're starting to develop and to grow your community, the goal is we need to get to a certain threshold, because that begins to open up doors with other brands, right? Because they're looking for a certain level of engagement. They're looking for a certain number, right? So does anybody have a strategy that they're using to try to get more followers or to connect with more people?
Posting more reels.
What?
Posting reels.
Okay, posting more reels. Okay, anybody else? Because we're just shooting in the dark, we're just kind of just posting stuff. So part of it, sorry about that, is being consistent, right? So we need to think about how consistent are you in terms of posting? So how often do you post? Okay. So not that much. Anybody else? Like, y'all are online. I mean, we can just go online and look, but once a week, once a month, 3 times a day.
Post my name.
What?
I really got like once every blue moon.
Okay, once every blue moon.
Every time I'm on vacation.
Okay.
Every time I'm on vacation.
Okay. So he shows when he's on islands and, leaving the country or whatnot, which is cool, right? Because it shows that you have culture and you travel, right? So we have to come up with a schedule of how often we post. Now, there's a lot of AI tools that will allow you to be able to create or to automate some content in terms of creating stuff that you can kind of go through and you can kind of look through the information and be able to figure out if this is what you want. But we're going to have a strategy to be able to regularly post. So how many people post their own content versus having somebody else post content for you? All right, so everybody posts their own content? Okay. Does anybody give access to their platforms to anybody? Okay. Oh, you do?
Mom.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think we can trust moms, right? Sorry about that. Okay. But also be careful who you give access to, because I've seen people give access to their friends who are using platforms like Hootsuite, who have multiple accounts connected, and then they post something to the wrong account, and it's supposed to be their account, but it's their client's account, right? And so then, again, in those situations, you can't say, well, like, it got hacked, and everybody comes back and say, like, so my account got hacked, right? But that's really not going to be a good enough excuse, because, you know what I'm saying? So you really have to kind of manage that at the end of the day. So you have to figure out what that's going to look like, who's going to have access to those accounts, because it's going to make a real big difference in terms of the followership, right? So again, this is going to be a key number for you to get to. How many people want to get some NIL deals, right? So I got a guy coming in who's going to kind of talk about that, but I want to kind of lay the foundation in terms of what are the things that they're looking for. Because in his platform, there's an algorithm where they can connect you to very specific opportunities that make sense based upon the stuff that you already share, right? But again, like, we need you to kind of get to this point of being able to get to about 10,000 followers so it can create local opportunities and begin to create deals for you, right? So again, we want you to think about the number, think about a strategy, and also think about the frequency of how often you post. How many different platforms do you post to? 2? Okay. Okay. So what are the main platforms that you post to? Twitter, Instagram? Okay, so nobody does Facebook. That's just for old people, right? So Facebook is just for grandparents and people my age? What? Okay, so you have Facebook, but you don't want to post because all the parents will see all of that stuff. So it's what? Instagram? Is anybody on TikTok? Okay. What about Snapchat? Y'all post on Snapchat? Okay. Okay, so it's really, so it's Twitter and Instagram primarily? Okay, I thought y'all were active in like TikTok too, but it's mostly Twitter and Instagram, right? Okay. And so why do you like those platforms? Okay, easy to work with? Okay. Okay. All right. So are y'all doing like more photo stuff? Is it video stuff? Both? All right. So even creating a strategy in terms of how you create this content where you can do it in a can. So say, for instance, if you're able to go shoot a lot of stuff on one day and then be able to post that over time versus having to try to go create a shoot every single day, right? Finding ways to be able to save time to be able to do it. So at any of the teams, are the people that shoot for the teams at all and actually create content that they can get access to? Okay. All right. So how do they get access to the content, you know, that you create? They just ask you for it, or? Okay. So how many of them actually come up to you to try to get the stuff? Is it random? Yeah. Are some athletes more interested than other athletes? Okay. So what have you found, you know what I'm saying, like in terms of the athletes who really want the information? Okay. So you have access, at least at this school, you have access. So of all the athletes, I guess, like, what percentage of them actually come to you to actually get, you know what I'm saying, content? A lot.
But some of them don't play. So it's like,
Okay.
it's like there's nothing to.
But it can be warm-up stuff. No. I mean, look, everybody is at a different place, right? And so finding stuff, because I was shooting stuff like for my cousin, but I would even shoot stuff in warm-up, right? And so there's still an opportunity. Some people might have more game film. Some people might have warm-up stuff. There might be other ways to be able to do it. You can still, even if you don't get the clock that you want, there's still ways to get content and to be able to make stuff work for you, because like some of these videos are 15 seconds long, 30 seconds long, and so you can still get something that's valuable to be able to communicate your message. So I don't want to downplay somebody just because they don't get the same amount of playing time, right? So I think you can still get good quality content. But again, they got to come to them for it, right? Right? You have parents that are shooting stuff. And what about some of the people in here who actually create content? Are you working with any of the athletes at all? So I know you are. Is there anybody else? Who else? He is? All right. All right, so if somebody needs to get content from you, how do they get it?
Sign these content. They just DM me on what's going on, or if someone like tell me what's going on, I'll go out there, I'll record them, and then if I know the person, I'll just send it to them after like everything I have.
Okay.
Like one time I shot a basketball game, and I was just going through the clips after the game, and I was like, okay, this is a highlight play. I'll send it to them.
Okay. Okay, so about how many athletes actually come up to you? Do you like a lot of athletes come up to you?
Some players on the basketball team do, and stuff like that. Like it's mainly I give it to people who I already know.
Okay.
Because I'm a small player right now. I'm gonna branch out. So I'm gonna branch out.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so if you're an athlete and there's something specific that you want, I would make the request. Again, like I'm assuming that they can make a request that they want certain stuff, right? Okay, so again, closed mouths don't get fed. So again, if there's information, if there's content that you need, then you need to be able to go up to them and to be able to ask for stuff and to be able to get the stuff that you actually need. Part of what we're doing today is shooting stuff so that you can have some additional stuff outside of you just playing. We're going to, so they're going to need to be able to see you in different states, not only as an athlete, but to see you as a professional, you know what I'm saying, to see you as a regular person. And so all of these things become important in terms of you being able to communicate and to tell that story. So again, we want to make sure that you kind of have all of those details. All right, we're going to jump into this while we're waiting for Ashton to come in. All right. So as we go through this, part of what I do, like whenever I travel somewhere, I'm always trying to find ways where I can bring my brand. And so this is me in Italy, right? And so anytime I go somewhere, I go into IG, I find a photographer, and I have them shoot me so I can have content that's not just local content or content in terms of the place that I'm always at. So even think about as y'all travel to tournaments or as you do other things that you're in different spaces, that you have the opportunity like to be able to actually bring more content in. And I'm gonna bring a gentleman like to the front because we're gonna talk a little bit about NIL because he has a short window. And so this gentleman's name is Ashton Keys. I met him, I think about 3 or 4 years ago. He was starting a platform called Athletic, and we were one of the first people to invest in this platform. But I want him to talk a little bit about the platform, and then I want to get into a little conversation about NIL because I know you work with a lot of athletes, and I want you to kind of give a backdrop in terms of if they want to be able to work with your platform, and then maybe some of the pros and cons or things that you've seen positive and negatively. He's a local product here. He went to Michigan State, and I love the fact that he owns his platform and he's African American. So Ashton, I want to give you the floor.
Well, appreciate you giving me the space, High. Pleasure to meet you guys. Like you said, Matt, like you said, 4 years ago, one of the first people to invest in the platform, and from that point, we've gone on to raise over $2 million for the company, and has partners like brands you probably know, MasterCard, Mountain Dew, Google, and even investors from the actual investment side that invest in companies like Facebook, Airbnb, so things you know. But what we do at Athletic is pretty much kind of help you guys, start the process of getting NIL. I think when everybody kind of hears NIL, you probably see, all the top things on the news, and this person is making $2 million, or this person is. But the reality is that a lot of people, a lot of players in NIL are struggling to get brand partnerships or authentic brand deals. So we're that middle person where you can say, hey, I am ex-athlete and I'm interested in these things. Let's say you're interested in, I want to do milk partnerships, or I want to do sneaker, I want to do clothing, I want to do food, right? We are a platform that builds that connection. So how that works is anybody in here who sign up for our platform, they're able to say their interests, and they're also able to connect their socials. Because a lot of times how you actually scale your partnerships is making sure you have the right connections. All of you guys, I would assume, are from Michigan, right? Everybody from Detroit? No? Where you from? You from Jersey? All right. Well, that's even better because the point is your audience of the people that follow you are 9 times out of 10 probably a collaboration between being here and your hometown. So through that data, we're able to connect you with brands that are trying to reach that audience because everybody has influence. Everybody can market to somebody. So if I'm a brand, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to connect with 18 to 24-year-olds in Detroit or West Bloomfield or somewhere of that nature, I should partner with him or I should partner with her, right? Because their followers, the people that are engaged with them, can reach that audience. So we are the person that makes that connection. We're the person that gives you, as you sign up, you're able to see, hey, these 30 to 50 brands are trying to reach my audience. So instead of you're kind of sitting out and DMing people or going in the dark and saying, hey, I want to work with you, it's more of giving you the right partnerships, giving you the right brands, giving you the right people to know. I already know they're trying to reach these people. I already know I can actually build value for that brand. It's just a matter of them, finding out who I am. So we do that. And then I think the biggest thing about NIL, I would say, is it's the small things. Honestly, I understand. I work with a ton of athletes, so we did over 200 plus NIL deals. And the things that go a long way is honestly being easy to work with, being professional. And I think the beauty of NIL is it allows you to be professional earlier. But those are things that make people want to work with you. Being responsive, being able to respond to emails, being able to deliver on time. I think everybody in this room understands that you're an athlete, you got practice, you got class. So communicating that and no one will be mad at you if you're like, yo, I know you want this delivery day, but I have these things that I have to do. Can I do it in this week? With those type of things makes a lot of difference, and those type of things make people want to participate and be a part of it outside of obviously the brand thing. Like building a brand, that's the first step. But the thing that gets people to want to work with you long term and continue to work with you is actually the relationship that you build with that person. And that's something that a lot of athletes that I see consistently over and over again, I was literally just on a call before I walked in here, is the people that don't deliver what we say. If hey, we need you to do something on Tuesday, if you don't come back to me till Tuesday night and say, yo, I couldn't get it done, can you get it Friday? Like that, the real world doesn't work like that because you're dealing with businesses. This is not, it's not school anymore. You don't get extension. It's even in college in general, you're not going to get extension on your paper. So you shouldn't treat NIL the same way. So those are things to always remember. And if someone can say it was really easy to work with this athlete, I enjoy the partnership, that's going to take you so much further. The second thing I think is also, it goes back into this, is being a genuinely good person and active in the community. I think Blake Corum was a great example of that. Before Blake Corum blew up on a national scene, he was already successful in NIL because everybody saw what he was doing. The first day we did with Blake Corum, he was like, I want to donate a portion of my proceeds to help equipment for young people, right? And that was before he won the championship. This was before he even started. And that's the thing, is like, those are the small things that people want to work with people that they genuinely like. Because there's a ton of people out in this world, there's a ton of athletes in every sport, and unless you're at the Angel Reese level, most of the people can have a similar profile to you. So what are you doing outside of just your athletic ability? What are you doing outside of just your social to take you over the top? Are you in the community? Are you volunteering? Are you a good person to work with? Are you someone that I can genuinely pitch to a brand and say, I know if I work with her or if I know I work with him, he's going to deliver, he's going to be on time, he's going to communicate, and I can count on him. Those are the small things that goes a long way into how to consistently get NIL. So, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I think you hit on like some really good points, because it's in life, it's not the core thing that you do that really gets you the opportunity. We know everybody in this room can ball, right? But it's the other things about being professional, being on time, how you present yourself. Like, just like at the end of the day, if I have a lot of opportunity or even a lot of money, I would prefer to be around people that I want to be around. I prefer to work with people that I would want to work with, right? Because again, those are the kind of opportunities. What I like to do is I like to open up the floor for y'all to ask him like some questions. I don't know if y'all have any questions about NIL or kind of how the process works or kind of how to get onboarded. So he's worked, okay, all right, go ahead.
What like troubles have athletes ran into like dealing with NIL?
Oh man, I think contracts. So like, how many here do you right now think they can raise a hand? You can read a contract and understand it and actually be understand it enough to really think you can make a decision on it right now, like a legal contract. But that's a big thing, a lot of that. So always, and I would start early. Don't never sign something without getting someone to look over it, and not someone your friend or not someone that you might know that's studying law. Like, get a professional legal expert, because it's a lot of small stuff into contracts. For example, everybody here, you know Barstool Sports, right? Well, when NIL came out, they did a big thing called the Barstool Athlete. So everybody's like, cool, I want to be a Barstool athlete. I want to put in my bio. What they didn't know was in that contract, they actually had a terminology that gave the likeness of all the athletes that are Barstool athletes for the rest of their life. So now, if you sign that contract, Barstool Sports can use your image, your picture. They can put you on a website. They can put you on ads and marketing material. And you didn't get, only thing people got from that was a T-shirt and a water bottle. But it's small, they did it where it's small defined print. And if you're not reading it, if you're just signing it because you're like, oh, I want to put Barstool athlete in my bio, you don't realize that you're giving away something that's extremely valuable. Because today, you might not think like, oh, I'm not that big. But let's say by your junior or senior year, you blow up. Barstool is like, oh, I still own their likeness. We're going to use that for our marketing to promote ourselves, and they don't pay you anything because you signed it away. So contracts is always important. Make sure you get the right people. Every university, depending on where you go, should have something set. So I would always get connected to that as early as possible and be able to find someone that you can lean on, because I would say, and we had like 60% of the people within our ecosystem sign contracts that they said they didn't fully understand, which is very problematic because you never should sign, and that's in life in general. Don't ever sign anything that you don't understand. So I would say contracts for sure. I think like we talked about, just knowing where to start. And I think the biggest thing everybody should understand is you might see a lot of headlines of people making millions and stuff, and depending on who you are, I don't know who's in the room per se, but some of you guys might have collectives and things that you can make a good amount of money. But if you're not at that level, don't be afraid to start small and build your way up. I have people right now, she was, her name is Mia Rogan, she was a track runner at Michigan State. When we first started working with her, she had like 500 followers on TikTok. And she was probably making maybe 20 bucks a deal. But she understood that you have to have something to get to a bigger thing. Because people also want to see what you do. Like, if you've never worked with a brand before, how can a brand know the quality of work that they'll get? So if you do a 20, you might do an early deal. I'm not saying to take a $20 deal. Always get the most value you can get, but if you do a smaller deal and build your way up, you will have what we call a portfolio. You have some stuff that you show. Hey, I work with this restaurant on campus. I work with this brand. I work with this brand. I work with this brand. Now, if I'm a bigger brand, I can see, oh, I know the quality of content that she can deliver. I know the work that she can do. I've seen her actually excel in doing partnerships. So don't be afraid to start small, and don't be afraid to take a product-based deal too. I would love if I could get free food at a restaurant every week on campus, and all I gotta do is post a story. That's why not? Because now that adds to your portfolio, now that adds to your resume, and now you have something to actually put yourself in a selling position, and also you have something to help you negotiate. So that's the last thing I'll say is negotiate. Everybody, including in general in life, you can attest to this too, Haj. A lot of people are afraid to negotiate, whether it's a real job, whether it's NIL deals. Always negotiate. What that doesn't mean is if someone says, hey, I'll give you $2,000 for an Instagram post, don't say, hey, I need 15,000. Like, you gotta balance yourself. But it's always room to wiggle. So even if they can't budge on cash, they can budge on product. So they might say, I can't, this is our budget. You can say, hey, well, can you give me clothes? Can you give me merch? Can you get, like, what other things can you budge? Or you could say, well, is it room to negotiate on deliverables? It's always room to negotiate, and always try to get the best deal possible, because a lot of people leave a lot of money on the table and a lot of opportunities on the table because they're afraid to negotiate. But the reality is, no one will look at you in a bad light, because that's a part of business. Everybody that does it for a living negotiates. in any business everyone negotiates the deal. And the people, when you don't, they're kind of thinking they got over because they're expecting you to negotiate. So I would say those are probably the core things to look out for and keep in mind. I know it's like a lot, and it's probably something like right now it doesn't make sense until you get to that point. But I feel like hopefully you have that seed, and when you get a deal, you remember, hey, the guy told me to negotiate. Hopefully you ask for a little bit more cash.
I like that. Go ahead. Yeah.
How many like high school guys do you work with?
We actually don't touch high school, and the reason being is because obviously unless you're 18, if you're 18, we can work with you. But when you're under 18, it's just a little difficult because obviously you're not technically an adult, so now you're dealing with a parent or guardian, and that just it's just hard to manage, honestly. But in terms of high school, obviously because that became legal more recently, it is a possibility, and like you can actually start now, honestly. So I would say high school is a great market for clothing brands and things like that nature. Start getting deals.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was going to say, we're about, so that you guys know, because I work with state legislation.
Yeah.
Right now, high school NIL has passed the House, it's in committee.
Yeah.
It will be voted on by the Senate probably by the fall,
Yeah.
which the governor, the plan is probably for, if it passes the Senate, they want to sign in a legislation right at election time.
Yeah.
Okay? What that means is 2025 people, we will probably have high school NIL. Only thing got to work out then is how the districts stay away from the liability associated with them.
So I think a good point with that is that means that now is a good time to start getting everything set up, so that by the time the legislation passes, that your stuff is clean. You've kind of established who you are. Also, anytime I work with brands, I want to think about the brands that I also want to be associated with too, right? You know what I'm saying? There might be some that you have an affinity towards. Like I know you guys did stuff with like Sweet Green, right? And so like I like healthy lifestyle stuff, and there's a local one here, and so like that'll be something that I'll be interested in because again, that brings a very specific, I guess, what I'm saying, kind of like consumer base.
Yes. And one other thing I would say, it's probably something we just passed it. I don't know if any of you guys actually have worked before, like had a job. Okay, got a few. Taxes. That's a big one. Anything you sign is taxable. Everything. So a lot of times I feel like some people don't realize that people give you, even if it's not just cash, you also have to understand the tax implications, whether it's a car, even if they just give you the car, like cars, apartments, everything that you get that has a value of it, you have to understand what the tax implications is. Because that was another thing that I've seen that athletes didn't realize or understand or think about, and it came back where if you getting paid for an NIL deal, you have to understand what are the tax implications of that deal, because at the end of that year, depending on how much you earn and as it scale up, you're going to owe on your earnings. So make sure as you start to get to that point, I think it's like, was it 600, I believe. Once you get over $600, you will start to prepare and have people around you that can start to help you think about that, because you want to make sure you put it away. You start to think about, okay, if I made 1,000 or whatever, what I would try to put at least 40%, to the side, so that you don't come up to the end of the year and you have this large tax bill. Because a lot of people, obviously young people, you don't think about that or nobody talks about it enough, but that is a big thing as well, is understanding what the tax implications of the deals that you do. And sometimes, especially with things that are not cash-based, but if it's a product-based deal, that also can become something because they go up the cash value of that. So if you get a car or apartment or something as a means of your deal, you still technically could, depending on where you're at and state and how you're accounting. I don't want to give like that type of advice, but I want to put that in your mind so you're aware of that, so that as you start to get deals, okay, I gotta get people around me and ask those questions to people, whether it's somebody that the university provides or it's people that you can find in the community, to say, okay, let me talk to an accountant, this is how much I earn, what is my tax bill, or how can I reduce my tax? There's ways around that. I don't want to go too deep in that, depending on the entities and all of that, but having people, the biggest thing, having people around you and having those discussions with people is always important. And it's something to just know. If you get deals and you start getting money, just know like, okay, who do I need to talk to? Who can I get connected? Because I know I'm gonna have to pay taxes on this.
Yeah, and so you'll start to hear terms like LLCs,
Yeah.
and so setting up businesses so that the money can be funneled like through the businesses, stuff like that. Which I'm assuming you guys are
Yeah,
probably getting into some of that kind of stuff.
for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I would leave it is like NIL's for everybody. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. It's a ton of fun. I just saw it. I just looked at the stat. It was 340,000 brands that has done like sports partnership deals. So it's a ton of brands. Don't look at it as just it's just Nike or it's just all these big brands. It's a ton of brands that are active. And the key thing is this: when you look at the top numbers, have anybody heard of Chase Griffin for UCLA? Anybody heard of Raekwon Smith? Right? We work with him too. Everybody heard of Terry Williams? Some people. Chase Griffin I don't think he's ever started a game at UCLA. But he's one of the top because he understood that UCLA is a platform. I'm going to leverage that platform to get the best of my ability and leverage that to get deals. I don't think he might not ever play at UCLA in terms of starting full time. But he's the top NIL athlete in men. And I think that's the key is like, don't always think that it's not for you. Even if you have talent and you start to understand that I have a platform at Georgia, I have a platform at these schools, you can take it to the next level. So I really want everybody to walk away from my conversation is understanding that you can start with local restaurants, local businesses, D2C products, things like that, and work your way up and be a Chase Griffin, or you could be an Angel Reese. But all of them had to start somewhere. And no, they didn't go from, I got in college and my first deal was Gatorade. A lot of them, their first deal was just, something like a smaller brand. And as they scaled up, as they did more deals, it gets to the point where things find them. But you just have to start. So don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm a huge fan of your product and let it promote it. Like 9 times out of 10, all the brands I work with, I'll tell you, if an athlete reach out to them directly, if they actually read the message, 9 times out of 10, they'll give you a deal. That doesn't mean they'll pay you, but if you say, hey, I'm a huge fan, I'm an athlete at the University of Georgia, would love to be an ambassador of your product, 9 times out of 10, they'll respond and they'll give you a deal in some way, shape. So always put yourself in the best position, always try to go on the offense and use people like Haj or other people to make sure your messaging is correct. But I would say always put yourself out there and understand that you can build your way up to be, whether it is an Angel Reese or it is a Chase Griffin. What's up? Are you saying?
Some brands like don't pay you with money on this sort of deal.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like,
Yeah.
how if the brand does pay with money, like how much of the earnings do you get?
Well, it depends on that's all based on who you are. So, and I think it's different. I would say it's different in different sports. Because one thing I've noticed before in basketball is like your talent can dictate how much money you make. In the sense of like, obviously, if you're an All-American and things, you have a little more leverage in terms of how much you make. I think that's all sports in general, but I think football, the one thing football and basketball for men, which is a little different, is like you don't have to have as much followers to command a higher amount because they can use your likeness and use it for other things, if that makes sense. So they can use a picture of you and put it on a billboard or put it on a commercial, and they get value out of that. Now, for other sports, if your audience, if you have higher followers, then you can command more money. So basically, it's just about your audience, who you can reach, and how big you are, basically. And that's just how it goes.
Yep. Also, too, you know what I'm saying? So he mentioned, this guy like from Stanford. So I looked him up. He only has 24,000 followers. I'm not just saying only, but what I'm saying that he doesn't have 1 million followers, right? And so sometimes we think you got to have Angel Reese or like Caitlin Clark, like type of followers. 24,000 followers, and he has 16 NIL deals, right?
Big money, big money. And I think Raekwon Smith, he is at HBCU, and I think last time we talked, he's seeing like well over 6 figures, a year. And obviously, I don't think he's going professional, but he'll probably walk away from college with over, I would say, 250K earned, maybe more than that. And he's saving all of it. So imagine, I know this is probably crazy to think about, but you can walk away most of it. If you guys have scholarships, you're not spending a crazy amount. Think about graduating college, 4 to 5 years, some 6 years, depending on, when you go, and you have 300,000, 350, 400 in your bank account, right? Like that changes how you want to move, what you want to do when you go. And that's the thing, is it's really possible. Obviously, Raekwon is a great example of like, he's a hustler, probably one of the biggest hustlers, but he didn't let where he was at, what school he was at, put him down. He actually used that as an opportunity because he's like, well, if you want to reach the HBCU audience, I'm the person that you go to. And leverage that to now he's making 6 figures a year off NIL deals. And I don't even know, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he had a All-American or, he was a all-conference player, even at his school. And that's the thing, is like, when you have that effort and the talent, that's when you become the top of the top. But even if you still are, making your way, still figuring out the game, you can still be at the top of the top in terms of earnings and NIL. So it's really, I think, for everybody, and I think a lot of people have misconceptions, and I would say 90% of it is effort and professionalism, and you can really be that.
Also, like one other slide every time. Yeah. Because it's not, there are also other sports outside of your revenue generating sports that can still like make those connections. I was looking at her. She has
3,000 followers.
She has 3,000 followers.
That's an unwritten rule, isn't it? Like following more people than you follow, and she's still crushing it. That's the thing. It's like 2,000 followers. I feel like probably most of y'all probably around got like 2K, right, or more at this point. So that's not crazy, but it's all about engagement. And that's the thing when you go into content. I know Haas talks about that a little bit too more. It's like, think about when you're posting content, what do you guys, what is engagement? Do you know what engagement is? Anybody want to guess? Exactly. That's important because it's strategies that you can do to increase that. So instead of posting a pic and put an emoji, a fire emoji, or demon emoji, post a picture and post a comment or encourage people to comment. Y'all like my fit? If it's a fit pic, y'all like my fit? Or think about the captions of what can I post to get people to comment on, right? What can I post to get people to engage? Because when you get that point of the higher your engagement, that goes back to your question. That's leverage. That's how you get more money too. It's about your audience, but followers is one thing, but even if you don't have followers, you have to find something else to piggyback on. But if you can say every time I post, I get 100 comments, that means people see my stuff and engage with my stuff. So if I'm a product, let's say I'm Dunkin' Donuts, I know, based on what you say, I know 150 people comment on his post every time. So I can guarantee if he posts 150 people, I guarantee are going to see and engage with it. That's valuable for me. Because out of that, maybe I get 20 to 30 people to actually go to Dunkin' Donuts. If I pay you $300, depending on how much it costs, now you can start to calculate what the ROI on that. And that's how people think. So next time, every time y'all post now, y'all should be thinking, how can I make it, even if it's crafty, how can I get it to where I can get somebody to comment fire if you like my fit? Or what y'all think about this? Like, it should always be something that's like encouraging people to engage or interact. Like if y'all messing with, like, that should be every post. Because the better you get people to comment and like, and honestly, comments is better than likes, if I'm being honest. The higher you can get people to comment, the better. Because that actually shows that people are actually interacting. You can have something that you can show and send to. Because not a lot of times people highlight is, and there's ways to fake that. You know when a bot commented on Instagram. Everybody knows when a bot's commenting. So I would say, think about that when you post now. Always try to be creative, but always encourage people to engage and interact with you.
I'll make 2 more points.
Yeah.
So, just to add back on to that, so I have a deal like with CI. And so, I get glasses. So when they do a post, I've already talked to them, they get about 15 people to come in and to actually ask about the exact glasses that I'm wearing. The glasses, these glasses I think cost about, with everything, they were about $800. So if 15 people come in, they get about a third of those people to actually buy the glasses, they have made their money, right? And I'm not a celebrity at all, right? And so again, so the stuff he's talking about actually works, right? Especially when it's authentic, right? So being authentic in this content becomes really important. And one of the points I want you to hit, can you talk a little bit about how important that 10,000 follower threshold is?
Yeah, I would say like one thing we've seen is like the chasm or just the people that are the most successful and it gets really easy for NIL is like when you cross that like 10K threshold. Like the people that always on the top, that always can negotiate, that always can make that most money. Like once you cross over that 10,000, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, we've seen that it gets easy to sell, and it makes it really, really easy for brands to buy into that. So I'd always, obviously you want to continue to grow and gain more, but like getting to that 10,000 point, I've seen is like that's where you kind of take it to the next level. Like you obviously can be a Paige McCormick and do deals and things of that nature, but once you cross over that 10,000, it allows you a lot of leverage. I think the name of the game always is leverage, because now you know you have an audience, now you have followers, now you can work on other things, but I would always try to aim to get to that like 10K follower range and continue to scale from that. But that is the one where most people that we've seen with that, if you have like 10K followers and you're a student athlete, I've never seen nobody at that point not have an NIL deal. I've never seen someone that's over 10K, they don't have any NIL deals. Everyone that has 10K followers or more, Instagram, TikTok, that are a student athlete has an NIL deal. So I always aim to do that. Obviously, we want to continue to gain more, and I don't want that to hinder people to think that they can't do it, because obviously people are. But that puts you in that best position to continue to do the best you can, and you can really have a lot of leverage in that.
Okay. All right, so what I want to do now, I want to take about a 5-minute break, just in case if y'all want to ask him some questions. I know he has to bounce, but but I've also found out that sometimes people want to ask a personal question. They don't want everybody to hear, so I'm going to give y'all a few minutes. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to get a pulse on where we are. I can go to actual pictures. We have water and stuff. We have lunch coming. But let's give Acton a hand. And if anybody wants to come talk to him, I'm going to give y'all a chance. This guy is connected. And don't let his youth fool you in terms of, like, you know what I'm saying? The most beautiful part about this is that you don't have to wait till you're my age or Daryl's age to be able to do it. He's doing it young. And again, I'm not knocking it, like we're old guys in the game, but ultimately we want y'all to start young, and we want you to get opportunities and to be the ones creating platforms. So again, a 5-minute break where y'all want to talk to him. I want to give y'all some actual time because he has to go in. So, all right. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes.
a G master, but y'all got you gotta get his fucking 873, man.
They give y'all content, people make videos, like stuff like that. And
So my
like,
baby
football is like, you know, make sure you know, like, I'm football first,
that's the one.
but like,
That's the one.
that's a,
You seen that movie, The Creator?
like, whatever you want to
You know,
who do y'all got on that?
that was shot off that bitch. That's the creator. Yeah.
So post that too, get somebody to call them, everybody that record. They probably still trying to learn, so yo, I'll kind of you can post that stuff straight. Undefeated, work it out. Like stuff like that, it's like all of that, like just builds up.
He just got up.
You'll see. You know what I'm saying? You'll see like, oh, this person is.
Wait, what time?
This